Night of the Scorpion, written by Nissim Ezekiel. Nissim Ezekiel 1924 to 2004 was an Indian Jewish poet, actor, playwright, editor, and art critic. He was a foundational figure in post-colonial India's literary history, specifically for Indian writings of a wider range. The poet depicts the selfless love of a mother who is stung by a scorpion. The poet remembers the night when his mother was stung by a scorpion. It had been raining for 10 hours, and to escape the rain, the scorpion had crawled beneath a sack of rice. The scorpion had bitten the poet's mother, and after parting with this poison in the dark room, had gone back into the rain with a devilish flash of his tail. On hearing the news, the villagers, that is the peasants in the village, had come like swarms of flies, chanting the name of God 100 times to stop the activity of the devil, the scorpion. They had searched for the scorpion with candles and lanterns, throwing huge shadows resembling scorpions on the mud walls of the house. They searched for him but did not find him. They clicked their tongues to show their frustration and sorrow. They said that with every movement the scorpion made, the poison moved in the poet's mother's blood. With every movement of the scorpion, the poison moved in the poet's mother's blood. They hoped that the scorpion would sit still. They hoped that the sins of her previous birth would be burnt away that night. They prayed that her present suffering would decrease any misfortunes in her next birth. They hoped that the balance of the sum of all the evil in this unreal world against the sum of good would be diminished by her pain. They prayed that the poison would purify her and her spirit of any ambition. They sat round the floor with the mother in the center, and there was the peace of understanding on every face. More neighbors came in to help, with more candles and more lanterns. There were more insects, and the rain continued endlessly. The poet's mother's entire body twisted and turned as she lay groaning on the mat. The poet's father was a rationalist, a person who believed in reason and knowledge and doubted all things. However, at this time, he tried every curse and blessing. He also tried powders, mixtures, herbs, and hybrids. He poured a little paraffin on the bitten toe and lit it with a matchstick. The flame grew bigger and bigger. A holy man performed rites to make the effect of the poison lesser with a magical chant. After 20 hours, it lost its sting. The pain had gone. The poet's mother, at the end, thanked God that the scorpion had chosen to bite her and spared her children. Night of the Scorpion. I remember the night my mother was stung by a scorpion. 10 hours of steady rain had driven him to crawl beneath a sack of rice. Parting with his poison, flash of diabolic tail in the dark room, he risked the rain again. The peasants came like swarms of flies and buzzed the name of God 100 times to paralyze the evil one. With candles and with lanterns, throwing giant scorpion shadows on the mud-baked walls. They searched for him. He was not found. They clicked their tongues. With every movement that the scorpion made his poison moved in mother's blade, they said, "May he sit still," they said. "May the sins of your previous birth be burnt away tonight," they said. "May your suffering decrease the misfortunes of your next birth," they said. "May the sum of all evil balanced in this unreal world against the sum of good become diminished by your pain. May the poison purify your flesh of desire and your spirit of ambition," they said. And they sat around on the floor with my mother in the center, the peace of understanding on each face. More candles, more lanterns, more neighbors, more insects, and the endless rain. My mother twisted through and through, groaning on a mat. My father, skeptic, rationalist, trying every curse and blessing, powder, mixture, herb, and hybrid. He even poured a little paraffin upon the bitten toe and put a match to it. I watched the flame feeding on my mother. I watched the holy man perform his rites to tame the poison with an incantation. After 20 hours, it lost its sting. My mother only said, "Thank God the scorpion picked on me and spared my children." Written by Nissim Ezekiel. Here, diabolic means having the qualities of devil or wicked. Paralyze means to stop an activity. Click their tongues means made a noise with their tongues to indicate frustration. Diminish means to lessen or to reduce. Groaning means a mournful sound conveying pain or grief. Rationalist means a person who believes in reason and knowledge than opinion and belief. Incantation means the chanting of words claimed to have magical power. Paraffin means a flammable waxy material. Now coming to the questions over here. What does the phrase "to paralyze the evil" mean in stanza 3? Answer will be, to paralyze the evil one in stanza 3 means to stop the activity of the devil, the scorpion. Who are they in stanza 4? They in stanza 4 refers to the peasants who had come to help. Whom does the word him refer to in line number 3? In line number 3, the word him refers to the scorpion. Why does the poem begin with the poets remembering the night? The poem begins with the poet remembering the night because the whole incident that is narrated in the poem was very memorable and took place in the night. It created a strong impression on the poet. forced the scorpion to take shelter in the poet's house. The scorpion was forced to take shelter in the poet's house to escape the heavy rain. When did the mother find relief? The mother found relief after 20 hours. English workshop. After reading the poem, complete the following. What happens? There are three main parts of the poem. Do you know what they are about? The first one is done for you. Lines. What is happening? Lines 1 to 7. The scorpion comes into the home to escape the rain and stings the poet's mother. Lines 8 to 33. The villagers sympathize with the mother and offer consolation in various ways. Lines 34 to 48. The father is a rationalist. He tries herbal medicine to cure the mother. He calls a holy man to perform rites and even sets fire to the bitten toe. After 20 hours, the mother gets relief from the pain. She is thankful to God that a scorpion picked her and spared her children. Question number 2. Complete the following table. A. Background or setting of the poem. Type. Evidence. For evidence, you have to quote lines from the poem. For type, you have to write whether it is rural or urban. So you have to cut off urban and write rural here. Evidence. So you have to do the cutting, right? Rural here. Evidence. First evidence is the peasants came like swarms of flies. Second evidence is and buzzed the name of God 100 times. Third one, to paralyze the evil one. Fourth one, with candles and with lanterns. Fifth one, on the mud-baked walls. Sixth one, his poison moved in mother's blood, they said. Now, coming to 2b. Scorpion. Many images of the scorpion contrast in the opening lines of the poem. Find examples of each and add them to the columns below. Here in one column it is given timid. The other column dangerous. So under timid you will write hides beneath a sack of rice. And for the second one you will write is afraid of the people and goes back. Under dangerous you will write diabolic tale. For the second one you can write the evil one. Now coming to the next one. Question number 2c. Imagery. Look at the description of the village peasants. What does the imagery suggest about them? The images, what images suggest? They came like swarms of flies. Under what images suggest you have to write? They came in very large numbers. A huge crowd of people moving towards the house like a swarm of flies. Second one. They buzzed the name of God. Under what images suggest you have to write? They kept repeating the name of God softly and continuously like the buzzing of bees. For the third one, they threw giant scorpion shadows on the mud-baked walls. You are right. The lanterns they carried threw shadows on the walls, which looked like huge scorpion shadows to the frightened villagers. Now, fourth one, they clicked their tongues. So under that you are right, what images suggest? They made sorrowful and frightened sounds with their tongues. Now coming to question number 3. The child is afraid but admires the bravery of his mother. Pick this and fill it up over there. The bravery of his mother. His father and the villagers panic and hastily suggest religious remedies to help. The poet seems to see the villagers as impractical and almost irritating, which suggests the poet is critical of tradition. Coming to the fourth one. This is the dash poem as it tells a story. Narrative poem. Fifth one. Using the first person gives a feeling that is told from dash. Personal experience. The scorpion picked on me and spared my children depicts dash. Selfless and unconditional love of mother. Seventh one. The poem does not have a rhyme scheme, which means the poem is a perfect example of a dash. Free verse. The poem is titled Night of the Scorpion, for in the major part of the poem, the scorpion is the victor. The peasants chant the name of God to dash, to nullify the stinging experience. The click of tongues reflects their dash to the predicament, reflects their collective response. Coming to the fourth one. From the poem, provide evidence for the following. Stages, evidence, lines from the poem. The attempts made by the peasants to help alleviate the mother's pain. For that we have 3 lines from the poem. For the first one A, you can write the peasants came like swarms of flies. You can also write the line and buzzed the name of God 100 times to paralyze the evil one. You can also pick up the line with candles and with lanterns. Now coming to the second one. The action of these same peasants to kill the scorpion. Here we can pick up the lines. They searched for him. You can also pick up the line and write, they clicked their tongues. They clicked their tongues. Now, coming to the next one. The reaction of the rational father. you can write the lines. My father, skeptic, rationalist, trying every curse and blessing, powder, mixture, herb and hybrid. He even poured a little paraffin upon the bitten toe and put a match to it. I watched the holy man perform his rites to tame the poison with an incantation. Now, coming to the next one. The various superstitions versus the scientific. You can write these lines. Trying every curse and blessing, powder, mixture, herb and hybrid. He even poured a little paraffin upon the bitten toe and put a match to it. You can also write this line. I watched the holy man perform his rites to tame the poison with an incantation. Now, coming to the last one. Evil versus good. You can write the line. May the sum of all evil balanced in this unreal world against the sum of good become diminished by your pain. You can also write the line. May the poison purify your flesh of desire and your spirit of ambition, they said. Now coming to the fifth one. Read the poem and complete the table showing the qualities of the father and mother, giving sufficient evidences from the poem. Qualities: father, mother. Under father you can write skeptic, rationalist, loving, desperate. And below that, for lines as evidence you can write my father, skeptic, rationalist, trying every curse and blessing, powder, mixture, herb and hybrid. He even poured a little paraffin upon the bitten toe and put a match to it. I watched the holy man perform his rites to tame the poison with an incantation. Under mother, you can write patient, brave, selfless and suffering. For lines as evidence you can write my mother twisted through and through, groaning on a mat. My mother only said, thank God, the scorpion picked on me and spared my children. Question number 6a. Match the figures of speech with the correct definition. Metaphor. An implied comparison. Alliteration. The use of the same sound at the beginning of words. Onomatopoeia. A word which resembles the sound it represents. Simile. A comparison between two different things, especially a phrase containing the words like or as. Coming to 6th B. Find examples from the poem that contain simile, metaphor, onomatopoeia. Now, first one we will take up simile. Just now we saw what a simile is. Simile is a comparison between two different things, especially a phrase containing the words like or as. So remember that and find examples from the poem that contain simile. So you have to pick up the lines from the poem that contain simile and write here. So you can pick up the line The peasants came like swarms of flies. Here the peasants are compared directly to the swarms of flies with the use of the word like. Now coming to the next one, metaphor. To paralyze the evil one. The scorpion is implicitly compared to the devil. Coming to the next one, onomatopoeia. Here we are having 3 lines. First one is, and buzzed the name of God. The word buzzed indicates sound. The second line is, they clicked their tongues. The word clicked indicates sound. The third line is, groaning on a mat. The word groaning indicates sound. Question number 7. Expand the flowchart in writing a paragraph in your own words. Mother, agony, fly, fights the venom of scorpion, unable to utter but groan, thanked God and survived. So this is given for your homework. You can expand the flowchart in writing a paragraph in your own words. You have to use these words and make a paragraph. Now question number 8. The poet has used various kinds of imagery to create an image which appeal to our senses. Pick out various kinds of imagery and complete the table. Visual imagery appealing to eyes. First one, scorpion crawling beneath a sack of rice. You can write the second one as, with candles and lanterns throwing giant scorpion shadows on the mud-baked walls. Now, coming to the second one, tactile imagery, sense of touch. For the first one, second one is already given to you, father pouring paraffin on the toe. For the first one, you can write, I watched the flame feeding on my mother. Then, sound imagery. First one is given to you, buzzed the name of God. For the second one, you can write, they clicked their tongues. They clicked their tongues. Now, internal sensations, feelings and emotions. For the first one, fear is given. For the second one, you can write pain. Now coming to the ninth one, write an appreciation of the poem in a paragraph format. You can write like this. The poem Night of the Scorpion was written by Nissim Ezekiel. The poem is written in free verse without any rhyme scheme. There are many figures of speech, example, onomatopoeia and buzz the name of God 100 times. Here we feel we can actually hear the buzzing of the prayers of the many peasants. The line taken for onomatopoeia is buzz the name of God 100 times. Here we feel we can actually hear the buzzing of the prayers of the many peasants. The other figures of speech are metaphor, alliteration, simile, antithesis, etc. This poem depicts the selflessness and unconditional love of a mother who is stung by a scorpion. It also explains the care and affection of the villagers and their efforts to comfort the pain of the mother. Question number 10. Prepare a presentation as a piece of reference to other students. Make use of the following points. Title page, introduction of the poet, the complete poem, all 48 lines, Learning objectives: narrative poem or first person or poet's role, lines of irregular length or absence of rhyme and meter, freestyle or colloquial, repeated use of indirect speech, repeated imagery, use of similes, metaphors, alliteration, repetition and onomatopoeia. Style of writing: Scorpion lines 1 to 7, the peasants, the poet's father, the poet's mother, vocabulary, credits, positive aspects. So this is a project. It is given as homework to you.